Do you remember the June 2019 All Access magazine? Well, this is one of the most gorgeous stained glass window art I've ever seen. Let's stitch it. So in this all access, which is actually one of my most favorite all accesses, this is what you can create. It's a stained glass and it's absolutely gorgeous. And there's so many designs to choose from. And of course, in the magazine, you get all the step-by-step instructions and it shows you exactly how to do it and what to use every step on it to create your own. It's done with WSS and organza. Now, I didn't have any organza, so I used what I have, and I had tulle, and it's sparkly tulle, which is a little bit difficult to work with. I learned a few things with cutting and I learned a few things with layering, but I think it looks pretty nice. So why don't we take it to the machine and I'll show you a few steps of how you make it. All right, so I have some really strong WSS hooped up there, and the first line is the placement line. So straight on the WSS, and I'm just using black thread throughout for all of the placements. There's no need to change any colors on it. Make sure for the last step that you have a black bobbin wound, or you know what, you could use any other color. I think it would look really great. Maybe a dark gray or a silver. If you use a brighter color, I think it might look a little bit weird for a stained glass look, but you can try it. Now this, the first piece I put on, the base piece, this is organza, and I don't have a whole bunch of it, but I thought, you know, let's try, work with what I've got. Let's do it. It's beautiful iridescent kind of a blue color, and I thought it would be a great base for this. Now, one of the things it says in the article, in the instructions in the magazine, is that you can mix and match the organza layers to have different looks. Now, again, I didn't have organza, but I'm using tulle, and I did the same thing. So this is 3 layers of pink tulle with sparkles that I put down. And you gotta watch your fingers, but you gotta kind of flatten everything out. Now, the thing that I learned right here, tulle is easy to cut and really easy to shortcut. And I did end up doing that a few times. So you really have to take your time cutting it out. But fortunately, the last step of where it stitches all the thick black satin stitches covered everything up, so I was okay. So I have this recording sped up a little bit, so but I really did take my time doing it. So make sure you don't pull or stretch the tulle or organza. So really carefully cut it out. And again, like I said, take your time. If you make a little bit of a boo-boo, just leave it as long as you can, and hopefully the satin stitches are going to cover it up for you. So it seems a little fiddly, but it goes really quickly as long as you don't rip it or pull too much. So that's the first step. Now the next step is going to stitch everything down, and you can see on the first one I am off a little bit on the top edge there. But that's okay. We're not going to worry about that. I decided to keep on keeping on and just see how the whole thing turned out. So it stitches everything down and then place another sheet down. Now this is silver, and you could cut it quite a bit smaller than I did. Silver with sparkles, and actually the sparkles show up really well. This would be a great scrap buster for any pieces of tulle that you have, or organza. I do think organza would work a little bit better, but you know what? The tulle seems to work fine other than the cutting. So silver looks great, and with the blue organza underneath it, it kind of gives it a little bit of a iridescent kind of feel, and I quite like it. I quite like it. Now keep in mind too, if you are ever using this sparkle tulle, these sparkles are everywhere. The sparkles were in other videos. The sparkles were all over my desk, all over me, all over everything. It is worth it for the final look because I really do think it looks fantastic. But yeah, I maybe I'll get some organza and try it again. Actually, I do make one with the blue organza, so I'll show you how that worked out. So if you have tons of sparkles, make sure you clean up afterwards because you don't want those sparkles inside your machine. Now look how cute it's getting. Now, okay, the steps are, it's going to, you put down your tool, it's going to stitch it down, you trim it, and then it's going to go over everyone and secure it down. And those are the steps, depending on which one that you're picking, those are the steps that you're going to take each and every time. So I don't record the whole thing, but you get the idea of it. So it's place, stitch down, and trim, and then it's going to lock it down for everything. Now this one is a little bit complicated, but I really like it. Oh, I have put blue down on this one, so it's I actually changed my mind. Hold on. I didn't think the blue would be blue enough. Once I got it down and saw the layers, I thought, I need something brighter. So 3 layers of green. Yes, please. Now this is going to, again, stitch down. So you put your tool or your organza, it's going to stitch it down, and then you trim it out and then move on to the next step. So the very last step is going to be the thick satin stitches, and it's very stitch intensive. Again, so worth it. They look so beautiful when they're done. So you change the bobbin and just let it go. I think it took on my Brother Dream machine, I think it was about an hour or maybe a little bit longer, but seeing how it's all one color, you know, it goes pretty quickly. I just set it and forget it. Off you go. Now I almost make a mistake on this one because I forget to cut out the middle. Now you could leave it and create layers, but I didn't think my next layer would look so good with a green hue underneath. But do try that with the different colors of organza that you'll be using before you cut out the center. Just have a look at it and see what you think, because it might work out. I didn't like mine, so I just kind of, cut it out. Again, super careful. I'm pulling a little bit there, and that's going to result in it ripping, but the sparkles show up nicely on this video. Isn't that starting to look excellent? Now, of course, this step is it's going to stitch it down, and there is one more layer after this to do, 1 or 2 more layers. And then it's going to stitch out all of the gorgeous satin stitches that literally bring everything together. Now, if you look on the corners of the design, the corners by the pink, it's really cool what I did. You could leave it as a pale blue like that, but instead I used 1 layer of the pink tulle instead of like 2 or 3, and it looks really good. It looks like a pale pink. So I put red and gold, and of course the stitching at the end is what makes the whole thing. You can really see the sparkles, you can see the layers that I did. It's awesome. I love it. So I decided to make another one. Now I only had 1 color of organza, but you know what? Work with what you have again. And I did, and I like it. I think I like the multiple colors a little bit more, but I think it looks really good. So you remember when I placed it down, the blue, it was light, so I did 4 layers of blue on it, and it's still absolutely beautiful. Just made the color brighter. So experiment, have fun trimming and letting it stitch out. It's a gorgeous design. I'll see you guys in the next video. Happy stitching. Bye.